mom sang, dad played guitar, my brother played drums, my sister played bass. It was sort of a family band, so I grew up in that environment. So playing music and performing, I think, was just a natural progression for me.
I had a cousin growing up that played music, and I always idolized him. And what really, really hooked me, though, was Alice in Chains after I got a little bit older.
I didn't have any musicians in my family, but my mother let me listen to stuff like Kiss when I was 3 or 4 years old, and I became obsessed with it. Rap came out, I liked Public Enemy and that kind of stuff, and I think that's where a lot of the beat stuff came from too. You know, got into Motley Crue and Metallica and Alice in Chains, and set me off.
I guess the first music I started really listening to was Motley Crue, Metallica. The first live music I ever got to see was really actually these guys at a talent show. So since that time, about the age of 15, that's all I wanted to do is just play live music.
I remember one of the first times I ever actually played music in a band. Just the experience of that was sort of a love affair right away. I knew immediately that I had found something that I wanted to do and was going to probably continue to do for the rest of my life.
A lot of the stuff that I bring into the band generally ends up being the heavier stuff, but I also like to keep that contrast of melody and really heavy.
I started out playing guitar in the beginning, and I think that I play the bass a whole lot like a guitar, and sometimes it fills the spot of another guitar player, which brings another level to our music. I think the big thing that sets us apart is the digital aspect of the band, what Rich does with the samples.
Really influenced by the Downward Spiral by 9 Inch Nails, hearing all those different sounds that he made on that album, and I realized, that's the kind of music I want to do. Stuff that people can't make without a keyboard. So I thought it'd be cool to have a sampler where I can use pads, hit it with the drumsticks just like another drum, but it makes a synth drone or a machine noise or whatever, and I think it adds a lot of texture to our music.
The music is the primary driver of where I go lyrically in a song. It seems that once we kind of have a basic structure for the song, I'm able to kind of wrap my head around what the music is doing, where it's going. Knowing all that ahead of time certainly makes it easier to start to put a vocal down. But sometimes the vocal can also influence that. If we're in the middle of writing a song and suddenly I hear something, a melody or a vocal line that's going to work really well, that can influence the direction that we go in the songs. But typically it's the music that comes first and the lyrics sort of draw from that.
When I pick up the bass, I don't think I'm going to play something in E. I think of it more of a pattern, and I just start playing that pattern, and it's usually not in a certain time signature like 4/4 or something. It's usually odd, and that pattern evolves with something that Logan's doing or what Rich is doing. And Rich having a really great sense of time and being able to just sit there for a minute and pick up on what I'm doing. We can come up with some really interesting things that way. I think it's a great aspect of the band.
I'm influenced by different time signatures, and I'm lucky enough to be in a band with a bassist and guitar player that come in with unconventional riffs. I think one of my jobs is to take those odd times and make them more accessible to other people. You can still kind of tap your foot to them. That's pretty interesting to play off these other instruments and come up with something that's unconventional but still accessible.
I really like the fact that everybody in the band can do just about everything. I mean, Mike can play drums, and Rich can play guitar and bass, and Jeremy's a killer guitar player, on top of being a killer bass player. If I come up with a riff and, maybe not know where I'm going with it, it helps when everybody's a writer in this band and not just for their own instruments.
Certainly once we all got in the same room and started writing and just kind of riffing around and seeing what was going to happen with the music and where it led us, I think we all knew pretty early on that something good was going to come of it.
When we get down here and start writing the song, the music comes first, and as the music is progressing, Mike's working on lyrics right there on the spot. So it's not like he comes up with lyrics and then we write music to the lyrics. It all kind of just evolves at the same time, and whatever concept comes out of that at that moment.
A lot of times people ask, what's that song about? Well, some of the songs can be about a lot of different things, but a lot of times it's just more about just an emotion or a theme or, something that you can connect to. If you're not able to connect with a song emotionally, there's a whole level there that's missing. It comes down to what feels right for us. We're not trying to put a song in a box. We write what we like. This is all music that we would put in our CD player and listen to. If if it's not real to us and we're not able to connect with that song and feel it emotionally when we perform it or when we're writing the song, there's no way that anybody else is going to be able to do that. And I think people can smell that.
The biggest thing that I'm excited about with the direction that we're heading is just taking everything that we're about, the dynamics, the odd time signatures, and stepping them up. Everything that we've got, everybody is 100% with, and I really like that. I want to take this contrast of heavy and melody, push it even farther.
I see the Seas evolving a lot more emotionally. Like you can just tell that it needs to go to this place, and when we all hit it, it's a magic moment. So I'm looking forward to a lot more magic moments writing the songs. They all resonate emotionally with us. So that's what I wish more than anything is when somebody listens to our stuff, that they get something out of it emotionally.
Seeing everything that you've worked toward doing for a year, 2 years, and then as a musician, everything that you've worked for since you started playing just all come together and eventually make sense. To get to play with these guys, write the music that we like to write, and then get up on stage and perform it in front of people and see people enjoy it and come up to you and say, that was awesome, I'd love to have a copy of the disc. That is the greatest reward from doing this.
We poured our heart and soul into these songs. They represent who we are. It's a huge accomplishment to stand back and say, well, we completed this album, and to hold it in your hand and say, here it is. It's there forever. It's never going away. It frees you up to start thinking, well, what's next? It's definitely the first step in what you hope to be a series of other exciting steps.